All right, we're back. We're gonna go ahead and get the city council meeting for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 at 6:52 p.m. All rise for the flag salute, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Okay, can I get roll call?
Councilmember Castaneda.
Here.
Councilmember Sotelo. Here. Councilmember Alvarado. Here. Councilmember Zavala.
Here.
Councilmember De La Fuente.
And Arturo did not call in.
I would like to motion that Arturo did call me. And he won't be here today.
So I have a motion to excuse Arturo.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mary, second by Sophie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're gonna go ahead and go on to 3. If I can get a vote on the meeting agenda.
Make a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I have a motion by Sophie,
I second it.
second by Diane, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda A through E? We're gonna go ahead and add E on there. Okay. I have it highlighted in red.
That's just the, for the estimate.
Okay, so if I can get a motion,
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda A through E.
I have a motion by Sophie,
Second.
second by Vera, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Marty, for that. 5, visitors' comments. Do you have any visitors that want to comment something?
One little visitor.
Maybe this is your time. You want to stand up at the podium, please?
Testing.
Hi, Natalie Palomares, 126th Avenue. Hey, I just want to say that it's awesome what you guys are doing with the Mount Stoudemire thing coming up. And I think that's why I like the New York Yankees. Anyway, it's really good what you guys are doing, what they're doing with the food bank, you know, people coming together. We just need to keep an eye out all the time on people's property, neighbors. So I kind of also wanted to see if the police department could keep an eye out on my neighbor's house because she's at her daughter's house for a little bit. So if we hear anything, anyone out there, we're gonna call it in, but hopefully you guys can do some extra rounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you for the positivity. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else? Do we have anybody online? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go on to 6, old business, approval of resolution number 2025-25, an interlock agreement for the library services and premises between the city of Mapleton and the Yakima County Rural Library District, operating as the Yakima Valley Libraries and authorizing the mayor. About that. Sorry, Jamin.
What?
I'm sorry, Jamin. Let's see, operating as the Yakima Valley Libraries and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement. So that was what we talked about on page 26. And that would be in the amount of $68,120.46, which will be paid in 2 installments. And for the record, it's not 32 or 38,000. So if I can get a motion. For the library to stay open one more year, and then we will figure things out in the year to come.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution number 2025-25 in the amount of 68,148.68
I have
a
a,
year.
I have a motion by Vera,
Second motion.
second by Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're gonna go ahead and go on 7 new business. So approval of resolution, we're gonna go to B, I'm sorry. Approval of resolution 2025-26, approving the email hosting services from Vision Municipal Solutions. What we talked about on page 38. So we can get a approval on that. If an agreement.
You have to put it down, just.
It would be 7,000.
I love 11,000, right? Trying to find it.
So
7,269.
We had $7,210.69. It said plus 4,000 and something.
No, it says included tax.
It says plus 4,299 annually. That increase includes a tax.
No.
39.
It's page 39.
You know, 500.
The first amount, is that just to start it? Then we pay an annual amount? Is that what we're doing? The first amount of money, is that just to start the program and then we pay that annual amount from then on? It's on page 39, the amounts.
I thought.
This is the extended price.
Do we need to pass this now or can we?
Can we table it?
Clint, because you have an estimate of 25, you said we don't need it. Can we get a more accurate amount of licensings that you're gonna get and the annual emails? I know it says 10 there. Or look on 38, it says 25 for the licensing, 10 for the Vision email. This is -8. Is that -8 from the 25?
Because it's being bundled here, right now, we currently pay a separate fee to Visions for our Microsoft Office use. Oh, so under the Microsoft licensing where it says the -25, we're canceling those. They're
Negative.
currently charging, yeah, for the 8 users that have Microsoft Office. They're currently charging us 182. They're subtracting that from the cost. And then right below that, under professional services, it's showing the new cost of 125. So we're saving $57 per license.
We're only getting 8, not 25. I think we were saying we needed like
No,
15 or 19.
she did a ballpark 25 for the full amount, but you guys don't need, council will not need, the whole license. Yours would be the annual, under the 10, the annual email
Just the email.
plan, yeah. So these numbers will change, actually go down, because there's 5 of you, plus Luke. That's 6.
Yeah, so can we do this when you actually give us the right number, dollar amounts? And I had a question, I mean, I agree with Vera on her question. Cause it says 7,210 total. This is plus 4,299. Is that what we're gonna pay annually after? Or is that?
Yes.
Yes.
So the 7,210 would be the startup for it, and then annually, which we pay anyway, we don't pay division, we pay Microsoft Office division annually.
So then right now we would pay the total and then annually it would be 4,299.47 every year after this, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
To maintain our email and
Okay.
our,
so right now we would pay 7,210 with 69 cents. And then yep, another year we'll pay the 4,299.47 annually.
So it's just a one-time.
One time.
Is that correct?
Is that correct?
that's, yes, that's what they're saying, but, that was based off of the code of 25. That are needing, that are also needing, Microsoft Office.
So it would be less?
It will be less.
Oh.
And which would probably mean that our annual app thereafter will also be less.
And so Sophie and Marty, correct me on this. Either way, we're going to need to pay something because this is our vision program that we use our system for the city, correct?
Right.
Okay. We just want to make sure that it is something that we are paying to that we're needing for the city. Okay. So if I can get a motion on that, and then if you can, Sophie, if for the next meeting, if you can bring, if it is going down, if you can bring us the correct number.
Yes.
Okay. So right now would just be the total amount, then every year, it will be 4299.47. Including tax.
So how come we just don't table this until Sophie could get us the right amounts?
Cause this is gonna start when? Next year
With the-
or? Yeah. Next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year.
Just keep in mind, whether it go up or down, it's the program we use, so we're gonna need to pass it.
We just
Yeah.
want accurate numbers.
No, and I understand that, but I mean, if you were to, it can go down a little bit, but we can table it if you guys want. Unless, Sophie has something there that,
No, I would rather, table it.
okay, we'll go ahead and table.
Table it.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. We're gonna go ahead and go on to,
Make a motion.
oh, can I get a motion to table, B, approval of resolution 2025-26, approving the email hosting services from Vision Municipal Solutions.
The motion to table. Resolution 2025-26.
I have a motion by Sophie,
I'll second it.
second by Mary, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. So that we will go down to C. Approval of ordinance number 2025-1200, an ordinance of the city of Mapleton, Washington, adopting chapter 15.05 of the Mapleton Municipal Code, adopting of building codes by reference, adopting the International Building Code, International Residential Code, International Property Maintenance Code, and International Fire Code by reference, providing for severability, providing for corrections, and establishing an effective date. So I can get a motion.
I'll make a motion. that we give approval of ordinance number 2025 1200.
I have a motion by Vera,
Second the motion.
second by Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So we're gonna go ahead and skip 8 and go down to 9 on the staff reports. And we'll let Jamin discuss some things for us. Hi, Jamin. Nice to see you.
Well, it stood up too quickly and I put, so I thought I actually, what, can you hear me? Is this on? Let me turn it on. Here we go. Good evening, council. So we gave you an update on a few projects at the last council meeting, which was some updated information. So we wanted to give you guys an update. And ultimately kind of looking for some decisions on some projects. There's some kind of, you're kind of in a little bit of a crossroads and we need direction on how to proceed. First of all, the well 7 project, you have the progress estimate you approved as part of your consent agenda for the test well up on the property behind the school. So that's a privately owned property. The owner's in the process of trying to develop it. He gave the city permission to drill a test well. So the first thing you need to decide there, if it was your property, we would like to just leave that test well there, right? Because it provides value, you can test it in the future. However, it's not your property. And so, and it doesn't really provide value to the owner property, right? Because he'd be on city water, it doesn't really do him any good. And so you may be able to leave it there for a while. However, you want to have the contractor abandon it, to kind of do that now while you have a contractor under contract, versus if you wait, then it becomes less clear of whose job it is to abandon it and you might have to pay it with city funds. So, there's an opportunity to discuss with the property owner if he's okay leaving it there for a while. Ideally, you would have it because you could always go back and sample it again in the future. But since it's not your property, it might be wise to go ahead and abandon it while you can using the grant.
Ideally, how far in the future would it even be good to try to,
I mean, if it was your property,
well, yeah.
it never would hurt, right?
Could
But-
it change though? Could the
Checking
the water change?
It's possible. However, he's hoping to put multifamily housing there.
Yeah.
So right, at some point it needs to go away, right? If he's going to develop there. So that's just one question. Big picture though, and I maybe shouldn't have led with that. The big picture, we did additional sampling, right? Where I told you the initial set of water quality sampling. Water quantity looked good. There was potential for like 200 gallons a minute. Water quality was not good. So we did a second set of sampling, hoping it would show a difference. It was a little bit worse. And so it shows the presence of iron, but not at MCL. MCL is the maximum contaminant limit, not above the MCL. You have iron in the rest of your wells though. Some iron. The main things were manganese, arsenic, and nitrate were all right around the limit. Whether they were right below the limit or right above the limit. They're below it, they're close enough that you wouldn't feel good putting it in service because it could very easily go above the limit, or they were above the limit. You can treat all of those things. However, it's not the same treatment system. So one treatment system would get rid of the manganese, the iron, and the arsenic, and that's what we're piloting for your other wells. But nitrate's a whole different thing, right? That's a whole different treatment system, and it's not easy to treat. The easiest thing to do with nitrate is to blend it with other sources. And so that's part of why we were looking to put your wells on the south side of town, so knowing there would be nitrates, you could blend with your other wells, but there was no water there. So for us to get water from that side of town, essentially, if you were to drill a production well at this site, you would have two options. You could either drill and equip the well, plus pay for probably 2 treatment systems, or you could do a pipeline and pipe it all the way across town to connect it in with your other wells. And then maybe you're treating some of it and blending the nitrate, blending it with your other water, because your other wells don't really have nitrate issues at all because they're deep wells. Fortunately, those are both very expensive. It's not undoable, but at that point, the 200 gallons a minute, it's a lot of money for 200 gallons a minute at that point. Your rough numbers, I mean, if you guys want to go into that route in more depth, we can dial in numbers, probably at least 3.5 million, possibly more like 4.5 to be able to build 2 treatment systems, plus the well equipment. So it starts to get pretty expensive for the quantity of water you're getting. If that's your only way to get water, it kind of is what it is. However, if you're going to spend that much on that well, it might be better to zoom out to the 30,000 foot level and do kind of feasibility of your other options. Just make sure that that is actually the most cost effective option.
if it's just paying for equipping a well, it's a great option, but if you have to pay for 2 treatment systems or a pipeline, then it starts to be less feasible. And so that's unfortunately is the bad news. So you have a few options, you have a few decisions to make. One is, do you want to abandon that test well, or do you want to leave it, talk to the property owner and see if he'll leave it active for a while, knowing that eventually he may say, hey, city, I need you to abandon that because I'm about to sell it, or I'm about to put a multi-family house there. That's decision one. Decision two is where you want to go here from the project, right? There were kind of 4 options, right? 4 options. We talked about this before for water. The city's best option was to look at the shallow aquifer. You bought the water rights, we got the money to drill the wells, but the water wasn't there on the south side of town, and the water we found on the north side of town. It's there, but it's poor quality. Your other options are get more water rights and drill deep basalt wells like your other wells. There are pitfalls there, right? With the aquifer is not guaranteed, as we saw with the Well 6 project. That's another option. And then your other 2 big picture options are to try to build a pipeline to Grandview or Sunnyside and buy water, or build a treatment for the aquifer water. Those are both very expensive options, but those are other options, right? Those are kind of your big picture options. And it's one of those things where you go down the best path at the time, and then you see where it leads. As you started down this path, the shallow aquifer, the well didn't work on the south side of town. We were able to drill a test well on the north side of town. Better results. There is at least water there, poor quality. And the last step, if you want to, so there are 3 options for you at this point. You could say, forget it, we're done, abandon the test well, we're completely done with this option. You could say, we don't care, let's buy some property and drill a production well, and we're going to try to find the funding to build the treatment system or the pipeline or whatever it is. But knowing that there's going to be a significant amount of loan, right? You're probably not going to get, you might get 50% grant, right? But that's still a significant loan that you would have to take on for a smaller capacity well. And your third option is to try to do one more test well. And when I had a conversation, your property at the wastewater treatment plant in the cemetery area is not ideal for a city well, right? Just psychologically, it's not good to put a potable well at a wastewater treatment plant. DOH, I had an initial conversation with DOH about this a few years ago when we were talking about this, and they said, like, try your other options and then talk to us. And so I have an email, a couple emails in the Department of Health to discuss whether they want to entertain that option for you now. And at this point, all it would be to use your existing contractor to drill a test well there. Just see what's there. I haven't heard back from DOH. I'm waiting to hear back. I've said I would hear, but I haven't heard back yet. DOH on their thoughts on that. And that's kind of your in between. That's not pulling the plug yet, but it's not, it gives you one more piece of information. The hope of drilling a well out there is that you most likely will have water quality issues. The hope is, 1, you might get a little bit more water. Maybe you're looking at a little bit higher capacity well. And 2, you would hopefully have either manganese and arsenic or nitrate, but not both, right? You're hoping to find somewhere where maybe you can get away with one treatment system. That close to the river, you probably will need a treatment system, but if you're getting more water, maybe it's worth it. If you only have 1 treatment system and 2, maybe it's worth it. And so it could, given that you have funding, grant funding that will pay for it, it could behoove the city to drill another test well out there if DOH will entertain the idea.
My question is, how far do you suggest that we move out from where we did this on Monroe?
Well, at this point, the only other property you have is the treatment plant. So or the cemetery. So I would go
I know
there.
I had talked to the homeowner across the street from where they're doing the
Yeah,
test one now. If I were to go back and talk to the homeowner,
that's same.
it's gonna be the same.
Yeah, you're wanting to take a chunk further north, like the water quality would really vary. You would probably find reasonable water production and poor quality. And so we'd be looking
To move over to this side, closer to the river, but like maybe off a boundary.
Yeah. Generally, the hydrogeologist saw it looked like the water quantity seemed to improve moving northeast. That's where we're trying. So the treatment plant, you're right next to the river, so there better be water there, right? Because it's the same. It's essentially all the soil and rock adjacent to the river, right? So there should certainly be water there. Maybe it has nitrogen, or maybe it doesn't have the iron and manganese. So that would be the thing to check, right? If it's too close to the river, you may even start to get some connection with the surface water, which opens up a different treatment requirements. One long-term option, if you were to drill a production well, this is a big picture down there, you might be able to drill, if you own enough property there, if DOH is willing to work with you, might be able to drill a few, and then you just pay for one treatment system for multiple, multiple wells. So you're still having to pay for treatment, but you're getting more bang for your buck, so you're getting more quantity of water. That's part of what irks me is, if you're gonna pay I'm gonna say 4 million, I'm just using a round number, 4 million to equip this well, behind the school, you're getting 2,000 gallons a minute. It would be a great price, right? But at 200 gallons a minute, it's a lot of money for the amount of water you're getting, right? You're paying a lot per gallon essentially. So, and in talking about it internally, I think we're leaning towards that, there's value to the city. You've got grant money right now. There's value to the city in drilling another test well. Then you have that much more information. Right now, because your RD funding was pulled, it's not like you have enough money to finish the project as is anyway, right? So you have enough money, you have money to figure out bigger picture where you're going to go. But at that point, given the results, it may be best to take all of those results and zoom out to a 3,000-foot level and just do some bigger picture feasibility, looking at all the options. Like, okay, this option got a lot more expensive than we thought it was. So is this still the option we want to pursue? That's kind of your other decision. Financially speaking, you have about 200,000 left in the CDBG grant. That will more than cover another test well. But that funding expires in January, right? So we're running out of time on that. They grant you an extension, but they were asking today, like, hey, are they done with that? Can we deobligate? Your contractor has to continue to be very patient, right, over this long period while the city was looking for property to drill on. However, I think they're going to probably want to wrap this contract up, right? Because they've been on the hook. City's holding retainage for an extended period of time. And so, I think maybe I can talk to another test well, but they're probably going to want to wrap their contract out because they've been under contract for a while. Your RD funding was pulled for the project. We applied to Public Works Board for funding for the city as well. And we talked about the RD funding wasn't the greatest terms anyway. So we applied to Public Works Board this year. But we just heard last week the city wasn't awarded because of an audit finding. Like it was like they had certain things where like, you have that, so you're ineligible. And it's one of those things where it may be someone who's long gone for the city, but there was an issue and now it's caused, I don't know the details, but it's not usually current. It's usually past that cause audit findings, but then current has to deal with that, right? And so because of that, you weren't eligible for funding. Once that's cleared, they might be able to fund you, right? And that funding is better terms than the RD funding that you have. You also have 500,000 in ARPA, county ARPA funds that they awarded you for a well project. It's not enough to drill and equip, 500,000 doesn't pay for all of it, right? But you have that available. And it has to be spent by next August. So depending on what you decide with all of this, it may be that you either can put it towards something and start using it, or you may need to pivot and say, okay, what other water projects do we want to use, and talk to the county to see if they'll say, look, this didn't work the way we wanted, but how about this? So that you could spend that money. And that will probably need to be acted upon fairly soon in order to spend it before August 31st, 2026. So those are kind of the, I'm looking at my kind of notes here to make sure I didn't miss anything, but those are kind of the big picture questions for you on this project. And, ultimately we serve at your direction. So
So I do know a couple of the homeowners down on Boundary going towards before you hit the bridge. So I'll go out and talk to one.
Yeah.
And then thinking maybe the Beckers.
The advantage,
on the hill.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk to them.
the advantage, Mayor, going down Vance is you already have a water line there. Right, because you have a water line out to your treatment plant. And so moving further that way potentially saves costs. So that's the other reason we're going there is you already have an water main all the way to your treatment line. So you're not having to build main in the street or in this case, the state highway.
Yeah, so there's, up at the wastewater treatment, there's a home that sits up there.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe if we talk to them.
Yeah.
They don't know the dairy, do they? No. I thought
The
they
dairies
moved.
by this.
So the dairy's around.
Certainly, especially if you moved, the initial test well, we wouldn't have to be too choosy. right? Because it's gonna be abandoned, but we just wanna drill something in that area. But if you're like, hey, this is good water and it has quality that we can work with, then you may start to look at like, okay, can we place multiple wells in this, in an area here? Then we bring them all together and treat them and pump it back up the hill to the city. And then that would be where, you know, the property owners in the area you wanna talk to, because you wanna space them out enough that they're not interfering with each other. Yeah. it's been-
I'll reach out to them,
Yeah.
by the end of the week.
David, I have a question. I don't know if
Absolutely.
you would know, but what is the reason that the water has like all these contaminants? Is because it used to be farmland, and it used to spray for years and years and years, and it could have done
Yeah.
that?
It's a good question. So in your existing wells, you have iron and manganese naturally occurring, right? It's deep basalt water. It just has hydrogen sulfide, methane, iron and manganese, and it's just naturally occurring. You know, that water is not directly connected with surface water, so it's been underground for a long time. In the shallow aquifer that we're sampling here, the iron and manganese may have no direct connection. I'm not sure if it's something from the surface or it's just the nature of the rocks, right? That have that if it's in the minerals in the rocks, and then it's coming into the water, right? Out of the salt or whatever the weathered rocks are. The arsenic sometimes may be naturally occurring. Sometimes it can be tied to, you know, I think they used to use lead of arsenic in the orchards. And so sometimes there's arsenic from that. I don't know with this, whether that arsenic was from. The nitrate is usually associated with, you know, that's a disputed topic. There are people that tie it specifically to the dairies and the stockyards. You know, it's also in the fertilizer that's put on the farm fields. And, you know, there are lots of septic, when you get out in the county, there are a bunch of septic drain fields as well, right? And so it's disputed where it came from, but it likely is from agricultural activities, and people debate, you know, the relative share of the dairies and the stockyards versus the you know, the fertilizers that have been used. So,
And that piece of land used to be hops, and it wasn't it, asparagus fields?
yeah. But the whole lower valley has issues with nitrates in the groundwater.
The whole
A third of the wells has nitrate above, I think it was like a third above MCL.
Glad to know that Mountain's not the only ones with that issue.
No, that just, so that aquifer, the first, you know, the shallow aquifer, I think it's like a third of the wells in the lower valley have nitrates above the MCL, so it's not a surprise. You know, I think we knew to expect nitrates, which is why we wanted to put the wells over there so we could blend them, right? Because that's the easiest way. Nitrates are not easy to treat. It can be done, but it's not an easy treatment system, and so it's easier if you can blend it to keep it under
The
there.
reason I had that question was because the city does own some property over here on, First Road. Golden Road,
Yeah,
behind the nursery. used to be.
yeah, and we
But-
looked at all the,
Remember years ago,
yeah.
we talked about that one?
Yeah,
It used to be a dump.
yeah, it was a big hole in the ground, yeah. And that's where with our hydrogeologists, they looked at a lot of the different wells around
Oh,
and where they hit water, and it seemed to be northeast was the direction to go. You know, think about it, the basalt is this deeper layer, right? And then there's a layer of the sand and gravel, right, which is the water we're looking at. But as you get closer to the hill, that gets thinner, right? But as you get closer to the river, it gets deeper because it's by the river, and then there's more water kind of recharge that. So that's why we're trying to move closer. So those are kind of the decisions for you guys. Do you want to try to leave that test well open, see if the property owner will leave it? Do you want to just go ahead and start to the process of abandoning it?
Yeah, I think abandon it, because, I think if we get stuck with it, it's gonna be like, who's gonna foot the bill? So
Yeah,
I think that we should
sure.
close it, and, then I can go talk to, you know, the farmers up on the hill.
Sure.
What
Sure.
do you think, Diane?
I think we should just follow that.
Because we may not have the money to,
It's something you have to deal with later because it's not your property.
yeah,
Um,
okay. Where are you? Close it.
Close it.
we'll talk to them about that. The hydrogeologist would love to leave it open. I told them it's not the city's property, so they don't know.
Yeah,
The second question then is, what do you want to do with the overall project? And you have some grant money for short term. You want to try to, if with DOH blesses it, drill a test well at the treatment plant. You want to pull the plug on the whole project?
let me talk to that family up there on the hill first.
Okay,
If we can get it moving, let's do it there rather than the wastewater. I mean,
really for a test well, it doesn't really matter. You just want a hole in the ground close to the river to see what it is. it wouldn't vary that much.
Okay.
So for a test well, I would think whatever you can get in that area.
And then after that, then talk to the family?
Yeah,
maybe?
if it's good water, then you start to say, okay,
Okay.
DOH doesn't want us to do it at the treatment plant, but maybe we can buy some land over there, right? You leverage the land you have in the area to see if the aquifer's good, and then you can cast a little broader net to look at which properties to put a production well on.
We do. Oh, I don't know, could we do a wastewater or the cemetery?
I think that there's some space in the cemetery that we might be able to. I think what Joe said, there was some room, in the back of the cemetery that might be able to be
Yeah.
easier than at the treatment plant.
Yeah, I think I would say the cemetery before the treatment plant.
Yeah, I'm mostly just that area, but the idea is you're using city property there to leverage, like, we don't have to wait on land. And have
Okay.
this awkwardness of like, who abandons it and stuff.
Okay.
So if that's what you want, I'll continue the conversation with DOH. Once we hear from DOH, if DOH is favorable, we'll see you get the contractor, see what we can do to get the contractor out there to test well. Sorry, I'm looking for
Yes.
consensus and direction if that's.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
We'll go ahead and do that.
So that's that. Sorry, I have more questions.
Okay.
So we will proceed accordingly. That was what we needed. And then the last thing there on that one is then for the city, I think, you have that $500,000 from ARPA. You don't want to see that go away. And so if this well project ends up being something that you need to sort of zoom out and look at in the big picture again, the best solution turned out not to be a good solution. So let's look at the big picture. We want to think about what else it could spend that $500,000 on and have a conversation with the county about it.
It has to be water.
They gave it to you for a well. So the easiest thing if you wanted to get them to do something else, the easiest thing will be some other water related.
Okay.
Yeah. Next, the reservoir mixer project. So we were working on design of the reservoir mixer, per your direction. Part of that we included was sampling of the reservoirs. I think I mentioned this at the last council meeting, that we were going to do sampling to look for stratification. The most common reason that you want mixers in a reservoir is to avoid dead zones. If you think about it, if the water comes in one part of the reservoir and then leaves, then you're just always going to be using that side of the reservoir. You're going to have water just sit in there for a long period of time. The way your tanks are, goes in the very top of the tank, then it flows all the way down and then out the bottom, right? And so it's intrinsically set up to be less prone to dead zones because you're starting the water at one end and taking it out the other. If it was coming in the bottom and leaving the bottom, then you could get stagnant areas at the top, but because it goes in the top and out the bottom, it's less likely to have stratification. So we did some sampling at your reservoir last Monday, I think. We did two things. The guys climbed the tank. They took our drone. We have a submarine drone that they dropped in the tank and just had it descend down through the tank and measure temperature. Because one thing you're looking at is all the hot water on top and the cold water on bottom, right? You're looking for temperature stratification to say, look, all the water comes in cold and goes straight to the bottom and the hot water's at the top. It was 71 degrees from top to bottom. There was no stratification. Next, they sampled the chlorine residuals and they had a hand pump. They dropped a hose in at different levels, pumped out samples, sampled the chlorine to see like, okay, what does the chlorine concentration look like across the tank? And interestingly, it was low for the first half of the tank. It was, still a good chlorine residual, but it was lower. And then right in the middle of the tank, it jumped up to about what your guys normally see. We think the reason is it was a Monday and over the weekend they had a little bit of a leak in the system and we think it wasn't dosing. So it was just that you think about the water going in the top, flowing down, and somewhere in the weekend, it dropped, the dosing level dropped, and you had a lower residual all the way down. And then when they fixed it, it would go back up again. There's no reason that you would have that kind of difference given that the temperature was the same. It would be more if it was the opposite that it would be a concern. But that way, it seems likely that it was due to the leak in the system that they had over the weekend where it wasn't dosing. So what does all this mean, right? So the value of the mixers is if you have stratification. The initial data we got from that sampling didn't appear to indicate any issues with stratification. So you can do three things, right? We wanted to get you these results before we got too far into the reservoir mixer design. We can proceed with reservoir mixer design and finish that and get it ready for you guys. We're looking at probably 100 to 150,000 to put these mixers in. Given that you have to pay a contractor, you have to pay an electrician, you have to do all that with that labor. The advantage, even with no stratification, is that it would allow right now, if you think about it, because it goes in the top of the tank, it comes out the bottom. If there's an issue with your chlorine residual as it's coming out of the tank, your staff goes and makes adjustments to dosing. But that only changes what's going in the top. You don't see it until it's worked its way all the way through the tank. So having a mixture would let them be able to make changes, and see the results more quickly, right? So that's an advantage. But by itself, you know, it may not be worth the cost of the mixers. So you got three options, kind of the same as the other project. We can proceed with the mixture design, you know, as planned. We're working on it, or good progress, should be ready to bid in the spring. We can pull the plug completely and say, look, you don't have any stratification, so let's not spend the money on mixers. We'll stop the design where we're at and put it on the shelf. Or the third option is we can kind of pause the design. You know, okay, leave it where it's at, pause the design, and then come back next summer and sample again. Right? Get another data set. We'll time it for July. Time it to and do another set of the same samples a second time. See, okay, you know, try a different time of year. Do we see any stratification? And then from that point, you could decide, okay, do we start with mixture design, or do we pull the plug if there's still no stratification? We're happy to do any of the above, but wanted to give you guys the options.
It'd be different in the hot summer than versus like right now.
You could see some, yeah. You know, we were trying to do it before it got too cool. Then, you know, so that last 2 weekends ago, there were some, you know, temperatures in the 70s. So that would be an option. Maybe it would be different next summer. And if it was, then we could always pick up, you know, take where we're at, the reservoir mixture back off the shelf and proceed. We just wanted to advise you of these options, so there's no, you're getting good value for the money you spend on this. And if not, then you spend that money on something else. Those are kind of your three choices, and we're looking for direction.
I'm okay on pausing it, but I don't know if we should just completely abandon that idea.
Yeah.
The money will still be there to use if we needed to, or use if we needed it for something else.
Sure.
What do you think, Diane?
I don't know this one. I can't answer on this one. I think we should work on it until we can figure out where we could put a well out.
The mixers.
Yeah.
Vera, what do you think? Pause it. Pause it. Pause it. Diane?
Just pause it.
I agree with Diana, Vera. I mean, I think that, that's a lot of money, and if it's not gonna work the way we want it to work, you know,
The way to, sorry,
but
essentially it would be solving a problem that you don't necessarily have.
Mhm.
Right? It would improve the operation. But if you don't have any stratification in your tanks as is, then mixing it wouldn't necessarily change anything, right? If it's 71 degrees over the whole column of the tank, it would still be 71 when you mix it. So yeah, that's where it's worth checking again, you know, another time in a different season could be valuable. Maybe then you see some stratification, say, wow, this is where the next one is.
Have a water problem.
Yeah. So I'm not here to tell you you should or shouldn't so much as give you guys the options.
pause it.
Yeah.
Sure. Wait, and meanwhile, we can find out our situation down here, you know, I mean, we've been going back and forth on this whole mixer, you know, and hey, is it gonna work? Is it gonna help our situation? Not, you know, what, I mean, the electrical and all that, I mean, are we even gonna have enough for all of that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And if we don't have enough money, we're gonna have to pull it out of where, you know, because we can't meet any grants, is my understanding right now, you know, or get any loans.
At least not for public works board.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't-
So I'd rather just wait and pause this.
Sure. And if you were gonna use the RPA funds for this, city RPA, you just needed to figure out how best to use those in some other way, or if something else that you can use those on before the expiration date. Yeah, I mean, that's all we're happy to do whatever.
Yeah, let's just pause it for right now.
Sounds good. We will do that and plan to resample next summer. Sounds like that's kind of the direction.
We'll see what,
Hopefully when the hot weather hits. The other thing that we can do in the meantime, you know, we have some budget there. We did get video inside the tank from the point of putting the drone in the tank was to measure the temperature, but we got video while we were at it. And so if you would like, we can use that footage and have our coatings people look at it and just give you an assessment of the coatings inside the tank. That's not super complicated to do, but it's outside our scope. So I wanted to see if that's something you guys wanted to do before.
So what are we looking out for that?
At this point, we do it within our existing budget. We just know if we had a budget later, I have to come back to you. So it's a couple thousand probably to have an engineer look at the video and type up a summary of any issues they see.
The thing is, we keep on using a couple of thousand, it's gonna add up fast.
It's just if you want the information on,
Okay.
the Jared that was doing the video, so I thought he saw some coating failure inside the tank. He's like, I'm not a coating expert, but you might not have a coatings guy look at this. So
Okay.
I just giving you guys the option, if you want, we weren't planning to go down that route, but if you want us to go down that route, we
Yeah,
can.
let's.
If you
then we
don't,
should.
I can send you a link to the video and you guys got it too.
You know what, if it's coding failure, let's take care of it before we let it go any further, because later down the line, it may cost the city more money.
Yeah.
And right now, if we can use this funding for that, let's do it.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to nickel down. It's truly, it's not like, I
Okay.
need to do this. It's like, hey, we
Yeah.
just saw this. We already have the video, so you're half done if you
Yeah.
want to have someone look at it.
Right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
We're looking on the pilot study. We're working with city staff on the location where the trailer will be. It'll be a trailer with a main treatment system in it. We'll run your water through and see how it responds to different treatment media. We're making progress on that and hoping to do that this fall. Figuring out, working with staff, figure out where to set up the trailer, the best way to blend the different water well, and how to set it so we can get a continuous flow from a well that only runs intermittently and solve those problems there. That's in progress. Fourthly, speaking with Sophia and the mayor, we looked at the possibility, brought up the possibility of improvements to the city's water metering system. So right now you have physical read system, right? The guys go and read every single water meter, they write it down and bring it back and they bill it. Most cities have moved past that now. The difficulty of that is it takes a lot of staff time. You can't really read it in the winter and you can't read it if somebody's parked over the meter. There are progressive upgrades to that. There's touch read where they have a wand. They just touch each individual box, read it that way. What a lot of cities are going to is called radio read, where you have software on an iPad. You turn it on, it pings all the water meters. All the water meters say, here's how much my consumption since the last time you read it. You may have to drive around town some, but in a flat area, you might turn it on at City Hall and read half the meters. So it takes what is like 3 days of labor down to like half an hour of labor. And you don't get reading mistakes because then they have it interfaced with the billing software. So it was something we talked about. We're working, Megan St. John from our office. Megan and I are working on a cost estimate for you guys of what it would cost to either piecemeal, start replacing meters. You can start replacing meters with a radio read over time. Or alternatively, what would be the whole cost if you decided like, look, we've got money that we need to spend or it's going to expire. We don't know what else to use it on. Maybe you write the check and replace all the meters at once. And the value of the city is your meter readings more accurate. And you save 3 days a month of public works time that you don't know something else. And so all I'm saying now is working on a cost estimate, talking to suppliers to get you guys a cost of what that would look
I
like.
believe we had talked about this at one time.
Yeah.
I think like my first year.
Yep.
Changing the meters and going
Yep.
to electronically.
Yep. And we put it in the water system plan. It's in your water.
Yeah.
system.
And I think that'd be good because, that would save, a lot of the residents have questions about their water bill. Now we would have everything,
Yep.
electronically.
Yeah. Well,
So I
a great
think
idea.
that's something
Yeah.
that we should get, if you can get us some numbers for that.
Yep.
And, we can go from there. That'd be great to get them.
We've asked some of the questions, but we don't have all the answers.
So
And there'll be levels, right? There'll be that, here's the cost per meter. So if we want to just start buying meters and replacing as you can,
Mhm.
you can work towards eventually having it. Or if you have funding, or if you end up having some money from one of these projects where you're like, we need to spend this, it's expiring,
Mhm.
and they'll allow it, you can buy the whole kit and caboodle and do it all at once.
Okay, so,
And
go
you
ahead.
potentially hire a contractor to install it if the city staff don't have time to install it all.
So Jamin, like if
Yeah.
we have just so much to do, maybe one side of town. And then gradually just change them out throughout,
Yeah.
like all the new development that's coming in, they can start going electronically.
You pay for the reading software,
Mhm.
and then you start putting meters, that software can read. So then the guys would manually read all the manual ones, and then you would turn the software on and just electronically read whichever ones you have set up in the system, right? Or You know, the big one is if you just can do it all at once.
Okay.
It's a mess, but then you're done.
Yeah.
That is harder to do unless you have money to do it.
Okay,
So anyway, that's just an update. Follow up on your questions.
okay, thank you. Thank you for all that information, Jamin. Appreciate it.
For not having fallen asleep yet. That was a lot of
Well,
work.
same thing, you know. Everyone. I'm getting excited with all this,
You're getting excited, yeah.
all the information.
Yeah,
You know, it's all stuff that we've been working towards.
absolutely.
So Diane, do you have any questions on that?
No.
Toby? Mary?
No.
Okay,
When we have a cost estimate, we'll share it with you guys. And see where you want to go.
right. So we're gonna go ahead and go on to staff reports. Sophie and Maddie, I know you have some good news for us, so.
Well, I was speaking with Jamin earlier and I don't know, which of you heard. But I submitted today for a refund through the CDBG grant. For 91,000, so, we should be getting that. They said, checks are gonna be cut next week, so we should be getting that within the next couple of weeks. I also followed up with the state of Washington because they still have not reimbursed us. I've asked them to expedite that process as well, so that'll be another 27,000 coming in. And then I've got a couple of other refunds through our insurance company. They're refunding us for reimbursing us for one of the trainings that Marty went to earlier in June. I found some money at the Department of Revenue that was owed to us. It's only about $485, but that's coming back to us. And then Marty and I have a mandatory training that we're going to at the end of the week, or actually an insurance board meeting, which I received grant for, so they'll be reimbursing for mileage and hotel.
Oh, nice.
So
Thank you, and I'm glad you're able to give us some money back. That's good. That's good news. Thank you for your hard work. Sophie, appreciate it. And Maddie. Maddie, do you have anything?
also Marty and I just ran the numbers for the visions email. And it came out to $4,785.65 to start. And then $1,874.44 annually.
All right,
What did you say, 1,000 what?
$874.44 annually.
so do you all want to put this back on and take a vote on it?
What was the total?
The total to start is $4,785.65.
Then annually it would be 1,874. Okay,
So would y'all like to go back and open this up?
anyway,
I'll wait to get the numbers from the bill from them. Is that the estimate from them? Is that who sent you that?
Yeah, they have an interactive, they sent Marty an
Oh,
interactive,
you
and
guys-
so,
You guys tell them how much, oh, gotcha.
So,
time for that.
okay, we're gonna go ahead and go back up to, B. And we're gonna reopen the approval, take it off the table. So if I can get an approval to take, B off the table for approval of resolution 2025-26, approving the email hosting services from from Vision Municipal Services, which is $4,785.65 to $1,874.
yes.
And if I can get a motion on that,
There you go. Is that on the?
what do you want to show her where that's at, please?
Is that the new business on B?
Yeah.
Yes.
This one? Okay, I make a motion on B, new business approval on resolution 2025-26, 6 is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Approving the email hosting services from Vision Municipal Solutions.
So I have an approval by Diane.
She have to mention the table.
Oh, yeah, remove the table,
Next
please,
to the table, I'm sorry. Table.
from me. Okay, so I have a motion by Diane. Second by Vera, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. So now we're gonna go back and we're gonna approve. Make an approval on resolution 2025-26, approving the email hosting services from municipal Vision Municipal Solutions. So if I can get an approval. Motion, please.
She just did.
Oh, she did the table. She took it off the table. So now we have to get it, yeah, please. So if I can get a motion.
We'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-26.
And I second the motion.
I have a motion by Vera, second by Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, thank you. So now we're gonna go ahead and go down to, Jerry, do you have any staff reports?
No, not at the moment.
Patty? Okay, Sarge?
No.
Okay. Okay, I have a couple of announcements. And also I know the girls have been working hard. Everybody's been working hard in the office trying to help. So we get this whole budget put together and get things put together for the end of the year. We have the city of Mountain, the unveiling of the Mel Stottlemyre sign coming up. And we have invited the family. We had already posted it, but we did cancel because the family wanted to be able to attend. So Mel Jr. will be here and Mel's brother, Jeff, and his family will be here. And we haven't heard back yet from Jean, but the brother-in-law was gonna let me know. So we will be having the unveiling of the Mel Stottlemyre sign Wednesday, October 29th, 2025 at 1 p.m. at the Mapton City Park. So everybody come on out, bring your jackets, bring umbrellas. We don't know what the weather's gonna be like, but here we have, the flyer. So we will welcome everybody. Jamin, we hope you can come out.
That'll be cool.
You'll be here?
I'll be on top, but
Oh, okay. So-
I like the idea.
Yeah, so we're really happy to honor him. I know the guys have already put the bat and ball out there. And we'll just be putting up the sign date up. And also we have the City of Mapton Harvest Festival coming up, the trick or treat from 2 to 4, Saturday, October 25th, 2025. This year, we will be taking it to the Mapton City Park, 614 North Main. So we invite everybody to come on out. It's going to be held this year at the City Park. Our sponsor for this year's event is the Veldeheide Dairy and Sagebrush Calf Dairy. And then all the attendees will be getting complimentary food and prizes for the best dressed boy and girl costumes. And we want to invite everybody to come out and have some fun. And we will have the city workers will be out there with their trunks decorated. So if anybody else would like to come on out, council members, to have your trunk out there decorated, we will we're more than happy. I know donation of candies are already coming into the city hall for this event, so we're really excited. And watch for our staff as they'll be dressed up as well. So this is our flyer for our Harvest Fest for the 25th. And let's see what else. I know the city of Mapton has nonprofit cafe, and students from the Mapton High School working on our food bank. So I don't know if you've all driven by there. One side is primered. Tomorrow they will be doing the outlining of it. And did they start today? Okay, good. So we've already met with the school. We've had a couple of meetings and it's going to be really nice. They're going to have the old Mapton Water Tower. I had asked if they could do that, the train. Also, some hops, all the stuff that has to do with the lower valley is gonna be on that building. And the students were able to draw up that whole design that's gonna go on that food bank. Cause it's really been an eyesore, but now we have something positive. So I wanna thank Nonprofit Cafe. I know Maria Corleto has been out there. Norma Martinez has been out there to help supervise the students. Simone Chavez, I believe, was the one who primered our building out there. And Amber Powell, from the food bank. So we just want to, throw a shout out to them. Justin Sharp, especially, he's been working hard on getting all the donations for the paint. So, everybody's coming together, collaborating. If you see the kids out there, feel free to stop by, take them something to drink, pizza, something, So with that, I will go ahead and end this as we will be going into executive session. So, okay, thank you. Have a good evening. And we are letting the meeting go at 7:53.
Hey, I'm gonna, talk to Amber Powell on Friday. I have a camera, I can do it.
Okay, we'll be going into executive session right now. And the RCW 42.30.110. Performance of a public employee, no action is expected to be taken upon reconvening of the meeting. So if we can ask everyone to please step out of the chambers, this is going to be a 5-minute executive session only, and then we will be back on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.
7:54, so,
You want to extend it to 8 p.m.?
um,